morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. I am Gunnar Eos, and welcome to another episode of the Logical Gamers Podcast. Tonight, I am joined by the usual Mr. Blanca Khan, Mr. Esoteric, and Mr. Hado Wolf. And tonight, we're going to be talking about games and what they are worth to you. So, what do I mean by that? So, um, recently, as of the filming of this particular video, um, the hot game that everybody thought never was going to come out but did come out, Silk Song, recently dropped, and it dropped for $20 on all major gaming platforms and PC, and was so good, or was so anticipated, I should say, that it literally crashed basically every major digital storefront when it released in certain time zones. So I was trying to get it at 10 o'clock in the morning, which it was its scheduled release date in North America, East Coast, and it wasn't happening. The game didn't even come up with a price. It was wish list and information. I couldn't get the game until 12:30 in the afternoon.
Oof.
And yeah, this was digital, mind you, when you're supposed to, the ease of access. So, that's a whole nother topic. But that kind of sparked a conversation that I wanted to bring to you guys and the ladies and gentlemen at home listening. Um, Kind of like a three pronged question. So the prongs that I have of, does the price of a video game factor into whether you buy said video game at launch or at all? So I know we did a topic similar to this a while back ago. This is like this, but with like our ideas currently than a year ago, and some new questions added to it. So like, if a game comes out at $70, is that good for you, or it's like, nah, that game needs to be 60, nah, that game needs 30, or it needs to be 20 before I consider it? Is that how you look at video games when you see a new release on the horizon? Second prong is, how do you measure a video game's worth? Do you measure it by fun factor? Is it enjoyable? Do I have fun with it? Or do you measure it more cold and calculated? I need to get $1 worth of content every hour, or I need to get an hour's worth of content to equal 70. So if I don't get 70 hours worth of content, the game isn't worth $70. Like, do you guys measure games like that, or is it more nuanced scale? Is it not so black and white? And the third prong is, are you more willing to roll the dice on a game if it's priced at, let's say, $50? Even if the game ends up being mid, as opposed to throwing money at a $70 that ends up being mid. Are you willing to, kind of like the olden days of video gaming, before the internet, before YouTube and Twitter, where you would get all this information slammed at you months before a game releases? If you walked into a game store and you saw a brand new game, you don't know anything about it, and it's $50, would you be more willing to roll the dice and take a chance on that game, that if you saw a game that you didn't know anything about, didn't have any information on, but it was priced at 70? So that's kind of the prongs that I wanted to have today's conversation be about. And obviously, if we yap a bit, if we stray a bit, it's fine, because these prongs are not set in stone. They could open up other avenues of discussion. So I guess, for the sake of brevity, we'll tackle the first prong first and get everybody's opinion on it, and then we'll tackle the second, third, and we'll see where the conversation takes us from there. So, since I'm here, I'll answer the first one. Does the price of a game factor into if you buy said game or not? Me personally, nowadays, yes, it does. Before, I was more price wasn't an issue. I just was in the bubble of, well, games are $60 now, that's the way it is. Or later on, games are $70 now, that's the way it is. But after we've had some breakout successes like Expedition 33, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and now Hollow Knight Silk Song, Expedition and Wu Chang starting at $50 MSRP, and Silksong starting at $20 MSRP. I now look at games, it's like, well, are you worth the $70 price tag? And I kind of always knew not every game was worth it, but now that I've kind of like I've been rekindled and I've seen the promised land of we can have good games that are $50 or good games that are $20. Now I'm way more critical of a game's price when I look at a game. So a good example is Daemon X Machina. That game is good. It's a good game, but its price tag is $70. And that kind of makes me like that makes me think about it because it's good, but it's not $70 good, in my opinion. It's not bad, but it would be a lot more desirable 60 or 50. Probably leaning more towards 50. It feels like a $50 game, which is no shot at the game. It's just it's not a $70 game. And then I look at Silksong, a game that so far, from what I played, I haven't played a lot of it, is really enjoyable. That's $20. I mean, there's a difference. So to answer to TLDR that whole thing, yes, I am way more price conscious now, especially now, than I was a couple years ago. I'll admit that. So I've yapped enough already. I'm going to pass it off to these gentlemen. So in relation to the first question, is price more of a factor, less of a factor, or if it's or is it roughly the same when you guys look at a new video game?
You want to go, Kong, or shall I
Yeah,
go?
I can go.
All right.
No, I can go. So it depends. There's a lot of variables. To answer the question plainly, uh, yes, price matters. Of course, it does. And it will can a price um, influence whether or not I actually buy a game or not? Absolutely. So I'll give you some examples. So for me, like the sweet spot is like $30, $40. Any game I'm willing to try for 30 or $40 for the most part. Any game that I'm interested in. If I feel like this is just a fun game that I can at least get a weekend's worth of time, maybe a few playthroughs worth of time in, then yeah, I will pay 40 without blinking an eye. I think that's a part of that is because you know the PS1 era, a $40 price tag was just very prominent, and that number always felt correct to me. It's 40 always felt like, yeah, okay, that feels right. It's kind of like movie theaters. There was a point in time where you could get a movie ticket for like $10. That feels right to me. $10 is like, yeah, okay, $10, sure. For 2 hours of entertainment, and the movie experience, that feels right to me. Um, $5 for a pack of Pokemon cards, that feels right to me. Maybe four, right? That feels right to me. But $70 is like, I start to question whether or not I'm actually going to play this game, if I'm actually going to enjoy this
Mm.
game, if I'm willing to wait for a sale. Like once we surpass that $50 mark, it's we start to question things here, and part of that is a big part of it is because I've been burned so much, right? By buying modern games as far back as the PS3 360 era. One of the most notable ones that I can remember from a personal standpoint would be Assassin's Creed, the first one. I remember I went to the GameStop in the area, and I was. This is before downloading games. You if you wanted the game, you had to go to the store and hope to find it. And so I went in and I heard about this game and I didn't pre-order it. I just kind of forgot, and I was like, "Damn, I kind of want to play it." It's supposed to be like the spiritual successor to Prince of Persia, which I love. The PS2 era of Prince of Persia. So I bought it without really doing any research. I just bought it based off just pure faith. I was like, it's going to be good. And I bought it and I played it. And that first night I was a little indifferent. I'm like, it's not bad, but it ain't Prince of Persia good, but maybe it'll get better. And it did not get better. And the game isn't terrible, but it's definitely a mediocre game. And that's just one example of me paying $60 for a game that I definitely regretted purchasing for that price. Um, But on the flip side, if there's a game that I'm even remotely interested in and I see $20, I'll buy it without even blinking. So it really depends on the genre, how I'm feeling. Like I might have like a certain itch for a certain type of game, and if this potential game can satisfy that itch, then I'll buy it, especially if it's at an attractive price point. And yeah, the price point itself, like once we're past the $40-$50 range, I really got to like develop a pros and cons list in my head as to whether or not I should actually buy this thing, because the way I see it is, well, for this one $70 game I could get like three really good platformer indie Switch titles that'll last me longer than this game combined. So it's like, I think I'd rather do that. So it really depends. I don't do the whole minute for a dollar or hour for a dollar thing. Like, oh, game has to supply me with at least 50 hours of gameplay in order for this $50 to be justified. For a while, I thought that made sense, but I look at the games that I've played and some of the games that I've enjoyed a lot, that I've beaten in 10, 12 hours and have paid $40-$50 for. And I thought, yeah, it was worth it because the experience was great. Or this game has high replay value. So, I'm going to definitely exceed the 50-hour mark or 60-hour mark or whatever it may be, um, for the value. So, I don't know. It really depends, but those are the best examples that I can come up with as far as like how I shop for games.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, floor is yours.
All right. Well, objectively speaking, I would say that price point does matter. I can't say that I've always followed that adage because, as the panelists know, that I have a tendency to buy games that are considered amongst the masses not so great.
I mean, look behind you. That's
I
just like
mean,
all the stuff behind you. It's like,
yeah. I mean, that's true too. I mean, I would say that goes above like the echelon of the price point because then I'm just buying the memorabilia associated with the game. But if we're looking at just the game and it's like like a lonesome by itself, I would say absolutely the price point does matter, and it has been something that I've been considering, throughout my streaming career because prior to that and like maybe I would say maybe 6 7 months and prior to that I didn't really care. I just went with my gut feeling and went with like, if this game looks interesting to me, I'll just flat out buy it, right? One being Assassin's Creed Shadows. I felt as though like it was going to be a great game. It's going to be amazing. It looked good. I loved the collector's edition associated with it. It was a nice statue. No regrets in that regard. The issue was the game itself. I bought it. It was super buggy. It wasn't the experience I was looking for, right? Because I'm going to have to say this. I should have prefaced this prior to making that statement. I typically don't do research when it comes to games. And I know some people would say, well, that's ridiculous. You need to know what you're getting yourself into and whatnot. But I'm used to a generation where information was not privy to you. Like the only information that you got when you went into getting a game was the front and back of the box that you were picking up. That's as far as it goes. You might have went to an extent of someone who had a subscription to a magazine such as Nintendo Power or IGN or whatever, and you'll get more images and a little bit of like context as to what the game is about, but that was pretty much the extent of it. Maybe some fan art in the back and so on and so forth. So I've always carried that way from the time that I started playing games till now, because within the internet, like a lot of context about a game is given away, and it's like, well, damn, at this time, then should I even play the game? You know what I'm saying? Not to diminish the aspect of it, because it's very important due to the fact that nowadays you're not getting the bang for your buck. You're getting $70 games and they're not up to snuff. Such as an Assassin's Creed, which had to have been like updated for how many times in order for it to just work efficiently, right? But as I've like kind of gotten, like, I can't even say gotten older. I would have to say throughout the course of like this year, I started to do some more like some like self-reflecting and basically understand this, right? I'm an older gentleman, I'm an older gamer. I don't have the time allocated to even play all the games that I have in my library at this moment, or as much as I would like to. These games are not going anywhere. So I try to be a little more strategic as to what it is that I'm going to play. You know, there are a couple of good games that are coming out at the time of this video. You have like Ninja Gaiden, Silk Song is released, and so on and so forth. But like the real question is that am I going to play those right now? If I think about the time allotted versus my day-to-day activities and responsibilities, will I have the time to, if I were to purchase all these games, will I have the time to play them? And the answer is no. So that's what also kind of contributes to me kind of leaning towards like the price point of games, because as I wait for them, well, you know, physical copies and whatnot, they will diminish in value as I continue to wait. So if I'm focused on one game, like currently I'm playing Liza P, by the time I'm done with that, maybe the next game I'm interested in will go down in value, because that's always been the correlation with physical games and some digital too, because they always have like sales on the storefront and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you know, in within that aspect, I kind of look at the price point. And then also I have looked back in time, and there's been games that definitely has, I would say, burned all of us that we paid full price for. Like Division should not have been a full price game. Like there was not enough content to satiate us. And
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Monster Hunter Wilds as well
Yeah.
was another one. You know, like, and and you know, it's there's so many variables that come into play, but the what was presented before us in terms of Division, in terms of Monster Hunter Wilds, should have substantiated us for quite some time. Hell, if the game was worth a damn, we would probably still be playing it now, you know. But they weren't up. They were not up to snuff. And then here I am getting games like, which I waited for. I waited for Returnal. Returnal I got for like 25, maybe even $30 on sale at GameStop, and it was a phenomenal game. Like the game was amazing, as opposed to me getting freaking Pokemon Legends Arceus, which initially I was like super stoked about when I was playing it, but as I started playing further and further and further, it just got boring and boring and more boring, because it became
Then you
a
almost wanted to
checklist.
self-delete after that one.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, it was.
I mean,
It was. It
take
was.
a look at the stream. My man
I
was
mean,
looking.
it was like I don't have a poker face. I cannot play poker. If something is bothering me, it's gonna reflect on my face. Like this is why I will never be good at poker or ever play poker, because I know I would get beat every single time, because people could read me like a book. But yeah, I pretty much say like I understand the notion of essentially being a little more cautious financially, because all of us within this panel, we are at that age where we're responsible. We got bills to pay, we got things to do. Our funds need to be allocated for things in the future to kind of solidify our you know, well-being and whatnot. And that is the aspect that kind of pushes me towards like pretty much stating that games, like the price point is important. But back in the days, that wasn't the case for me. It was, oh, and still to somewhat to some degree, it's like, oh, I like that collector's edition. I like that collector's edition. This game looks interesting to me. I want that statue. I want that. I was just buying, you know, things all willy nilly. But now I'm trying to be a little more cautious as to like what I'm getting and stuff. If that makes any sense. I know I kind of like rambled on in that regard, but
No, you're good. You're good.
so I'm gonna pass it on to you, Wolf. What say you?
I think it depends. When it comes to the cost, it depends, because like it's gonna depend on my expectation of the fun factor and if I'm gonna like the game for me to spend the money. But I typically have been on this run where I'm just playing free to play games or games that's on sale for, real cheap. It's what helped me decide to play the Devil May Cry series because I spent $20 for 5 games.
It's true.
And right now is why I'm playing the Super Robot War game because I got it on my Steam Deck for a low cost. So I've been doing that as of late where I'm looking for games where, I spend less than $10, but I can get a good game out of it or something fun. Or if it's just free to play, I'll download it, play for a little bit and keep it pushing. But when it comes down to the more expensive titles, it all depends because I am willing to spend the $70 for Metroid Prime 4. I know I'm going to spend it because I know I'm not going to wait a year to play it. I'm not going to do it. Not Metroid Prime 4. But like, say, again, to continue to harp on this one game, Monster Hunter Wilds expansion, I am not buying that game anywhere near its release date. I'm completely waiting that game out 100%. And I've come to terms with that's just how I'm going to treat that franchise moving forward. So for me, it all depends. Like if my friends are playing and,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, get on this game, I'm okay with it. I'll get on. I don't mind. Or, if they're saying, hey, we're going to play this game, it costs $40. I'll play it. If your guys say it costs $70, but everybody is committed to play, I'll buy it. If I can afford it at that moment, because I
Yeah.
have a different level of responsibilities. Um, so yeah, I think it really depends on fun factor and the commitment I'm gonna put into it for me to spend based on how much money I'm gonna spend. But if I'm just looking to pass time because I'm a gamer in the end and I love games, as that's why I get frustrated with the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck is a way that I can play games mobilely or more comfortably, but spend like I bought Mass Effect 3. Was it? It's 3, right? The last Mass Effect to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
I
part
think
of the
it's 3.
trilogy is 3. Yeah.
Oh, a part of the
Andromeda.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Andromeda was the last one that come out, which was
Not Andromeda.
2017, I think.
So
Not
yeah, three.
Andromeda. The
Yeah,
one
yeah.
before that. 3.
Three. It would
3.
be
That's
three.
three.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I bought it for $5.99 on Steam. And I know it's a big game, so it's like for me, it's like, okay, well, if it works and I can actually play it without it crashing, I'll get a game that, that'll last me for less than $10. So mm, it all depends. I know I'm gonna buy Marvel Token. That's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
$70.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't say like, okay, well, here's a hard cap for me. I don't have a hard cap. I just gauge to see, is this game going to be something I'm going to be committed to, or is it going to be something that my friends are going to play and I know they're going to be playing it, so I'm going to jump on it, or is it just for my own personal enjoyment? It all depends on what exactly title we're talking about at any given moment.
I
So
getcha.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, you got anything to say, SO?
No. I'm good.
Okay. So I know this. Some of you guys answered this already. Um, so if anything new comes to mind, or if it would just be a repeat, don't worry about it. But so like, how do we measure the fun value, quote unquote, of a video game? Obviously, fun is subjective. Um, I've seen more of a rise on the internet in relating fun factor to price. So what I mean by that is it's just very black and white. If I'm getting an hour's worth of content, it's an hour's worth of content for $10, so on and so on and so on. Or if a game is $70, I better have 70 hours of content. And I think that's a bad it's a flaw, not necessarily bad. It's a flawed metric to measure something by, because if we're gonna measure it by that factor, then every Ubisoft game is a 10 out of 10, can do no wrong, because you'll get 70 hours of something to do, but it will be the same: climb the tower, open up the map, raid this bandit cap, climb the tower, open the map, raid this bandit cap, for 70 hours. So you did get $70 worth of content, if we're just, content is a thing you do, but is it fun? That madman who loves Ubisoft or is paid is going to tell you yes. Most people would be like, no, that's boring, that's a slog, I want nothing to do with that. I'd rather play a game that's 10 hours or 5 hours or 15 hours long that I get more enjoyment out of. So me personally, I rate a game based on my enjoyment of it. Now, for those that don't know, these guys know, I'll mostly gravitate towards RPGs, Western RPGs, Japanese RPGs, tactical RPGs, that kind of genre of game, which by default is longer. These games are slower, they're longer, and they take longer to beat. So a standard RPG or a tactical RPG having a 40-hour runtime is kind of like the bare minimum. Having it going to 50 and 60 is like the upper echelon of games. So the way I look at it is, if I'm enjoying the game, and if I like have, let's say, 5 or 10 hours of rest of it is going to be like that, then I don't feel bad spending $70. I don't regret it. So a current example of a game that I thought I was going to have fun with, but I didn't have fun with, and I kind of dropped it like a very bad habit. I'll get to it at some point. Is a game called Lost Soul Aside.
Oh, that's
I just
disappointing.
saw an ad
That
for
is
that.
so disappointing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's recently came out,
Oh
and I did
man.
something I rarely do. I pulled the ESO. I bought it on a whim. Like, I just like, this looks cool, and I bought it, and I'm kicking myself. I, if somebody wanted to take it off me for like $50, I'd sell it in a heartbeat. It's not a bad game. I don't want to sell it off as a shit game. It's not, but it is not worth 60. It's barely worth 50. This game is rough. Voice acting is not that great. Story is not that great. The combat is fine, but shit has more particle effects than Final Fantasy, and that's saying something. And it's really hard on the eyes. Like, the characters, I know you hear the terminology, these characters look wooden or they look like plastic dolls. This game, it really does look like that. Like, they look like plastic dolls. And the voice acting, like the lip syncing, doesn't match the voices, and that bothers the shit out of me. And I regret buying that game. It's one of the few games that I can think off the top of my head in the past couple years I truly regret buying. Um, to me, that's not fun. But I go on the internet, and people are raving. Some people are raving about that game. But the consensus is it's like a 6 out of 10 game. It's a middling game at best. And I'll admit, I kind of got suckered into the Chinese developer hype. Like, this is another Chinese developed game. It's sponsored by Sony. That's why it's exclusive to PlayStation and PC at the moment. And I recently played Wukong. I know that's not new, but I recently played it, really enjoyed it. I played Wu Chang, really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, this one's got to be a banger. I should have looked at some videos. It got me.
There's no
So
woo in it, so that's why it's bad.
I know I got to stick with the woos. This one is lost, so I lost money. So I guess it's apropos. But yeah, so that's an example of a game that's just not fun, and that leads into the first prong of the Trident, where, yeah, I should have been smart. That game is not worth $60. That's a fuck up on my part, and I'm older now. I'm employed. I have a certain level of respect. It's not strenuous, so $60 isn't the end of the world. I will financially recover from this, but it still sucks, and it's a lesson learned. Like, I have to, you know, I know Esso talked about not wanting games to be spoiled, and some trailers do a very bad or very good job of spoiling the game for you. But sometimes you gotta do it, or you end up in a Lost Ark situation like I was.
Well,
So
the trailers are different. Like I'll absolutely watch trailers because I mean I grew up on watching trailers of games that came out, commercials and whatnot. I think as far as the rabbit hole goes, is where I'm a little deterrent on is people who are reviewing it because there are biases there as well as like they're being descriptive about every aspect of the game, like every mechanic, every proponent, everything about the game, and it's like damn, well, I might as well just watch the game as opposed to play it from my perspective. Not to say that I don't understand, okay, well, it's better to be safe than sorry because $60, although it might not be considered a lot, it is a lot because it's so comparative to other things that you could have purchased. That's a master grade Gundam you could have purchased, which you'd have had way more fun doing because you know what you're getting yourself into. You enjoy Gunpla, so it would have been better spent there. But for me, it's like if I have to sit there and watch somebody give a full synopsis on a game and just give every finite detail and pick it apart or praise it, it's like it kind of it kind of makes me not want to really play it anymore. If it's something that's like super like for example, if you're picking apart Mario Kart, well, Mario Kart is fine because Mario Kart is a multiplayer game. There's no like intricacies besides the gameplay, and the fun factor is playing with all your friends and going through the levels. That's perfectly fine. But if I have to sit there and wait for someone to pick apart, let's say, like an Elden Ring or a Souls game, then it's like, I might as well just not get it, you know? So that's kind of like my perspective with that.
yeah, I mean, and to quickly, because we've talked about this at length previously, but like, if I'm on the opposite fence of that, if I saw some
Hmm.
guy kind of give a detailed rundown of Lost Soul Aside, and I would have seen like him talking about the voice acting, how it's not that great, how the models, the character models look very stiff and plasticky, and how the gameplay was just like it's a very high bar. Like the gameplay's good, but is it $60 good? It would have saved me $60 because I would
Yeah.
have looked at that and I would have gone, ah, okay, you look like a $40, $50 game. I'll see you in December, or I'll see you sometime in 2026.
I get that.
So,
That makes
well, I
sense.
do get your sentiment. Like, I think that is good. It's good to have that because then you can make informed decisions. And the other guy spent 60 because he's the one with 500K YouTube subs, and $60 means nothing to him, more than likely.
True, and then also to kind of add to that is that because you mentioned the YouTube views and whatnot, with me being a streamer and trying to be like a solidified content creator, it's like, do I really want to take other people's opinions on certain pieces? Like, will that kind of like sway my own? You know what I'm saying? So I look at it also from that perspective, like being a blank canvas, because some people may not believe it, but there can be some sway when it comes to, opinions. And you're just thinking about it in the back of your head, like, yeah, the models are really like Pinocchio esque. They're really puppet. The animation isn't that great, and so on and so forth. So
Bro, I'm telling you, those characters make P and Lies of P look like he's a fucking emotional. It's it's not that. It's not good. I look at the game, I'm staring at it, and I'm like, fuck, man. Whatever. I gotta hold this L.
yeah, I understand. I understand. Whew, man. Oh, I thought you were
So
going to say something, Wolf.
I was, and then my brain went dead, and I was like, oh crap. Um, but yeah, like I've been there as well, where I take a whim on a game and I just can't play it, and it's like, well, I spent the money on this already, so it's like I'm kind of annoyed, or it's a very annoying feeling. That's why it's led me down the path of constant research, even if it does mean me risk spoiling certain things, because this is gonna sound weird, but I don't want a video game to waste my time. You know, like I really don't want to waste time playing something and it's like, oh God, I can't sit through this, or I just get bored and stop.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
I do my research and I'll see, okay, well, this is something I can play, even if I know that some things will be spoiled for me during the research. I'm okay with it. And I think that's why my mindset gravitates towards a lot of competitive games more, because there's nothing to really spoil. It's just gameplay.
Yeah. That's true.
Um, so it's like, do I really want to play or dabble into this fighting game? For example, can I really play it, and then looking at it or looking and understanding what I understand of fighting game mechanics, I'll know whether, okay, I'm gonna keep playing. I would play this game, or I would have fun in this game, and then or not. So I don't invest any time into it. Like the League of Legends fighting game, I was following it for a while, but then I saw some actual gameplay of it, like good people playing it, and I realized to myself watching them play, I'm not playing that game. It's not interesting. It's not fun. Not to me anyway.
Hmm.
So I know it's a fighting game I don't have to play or don't have to invest time into. I can move on to something else.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I was trying to take advantage of hopefully getting into the beta for Marvel Token, so I can see if this is a game that I can play when it comes out, although it potentially could be vastly different when it comes out.
True.
Um, like those are things that I'm willing to give chances to. Now, my research, and if they have demos, try the demos. I do encourage people to try demos. Even if it's not the final game, at least it'll give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into, so you don't complain about it later. But demos can be misleading too, because a lot of demos can be kick ass, and then when the actual game comes out, it's like, well, everything I played in the demo is here. It's just lackluster in its entirety. Um, so yeah, for me, I like the whole research thing. Just do your research. Make sure it's a game you can play.
Yeah, bro. I wish I did it in this case. Like when it came to Damon X, that has a demo that carries over into the main game. So I played that. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's give it a shot. It's already a mech game, so it's plus. It's higher on the little totem pole because it's a mech game. We don't get a lot of those, and for a long time until Armored Core
6.
6, mech games have been very hit or miss. It's thank God for Super Robot Wars, because other than that, I wouldn't. Um, and then I played it. I was like, okay, I can play this. It's fun. It's like anime centric. I like anime. I can see the potential of different arsenals, is what they call the mechs. I can see different arsenal builds, like a heavy build, a light build, energy build. I can see that in my mind's eye. It's like, okay, I can have a lot of fun doing that. Very grindy, grinding for resource, weapons, materials. I personally like that. So that's why I was okay spending 70 on that game, even though, like I previously said, 70 is very steep for that game. And I don't really think it is a $70 game. And if anybody came to me and said, "Oh, I'm on the fence about Damon X. What do you think about it?" I'm like, well, if you're a mech fan, a grinding fan, and an RPG fan, you might enjoy the 70. But if you're like one of those or even two of those, wait for a sale. And this is coming from a guy who likes the game. Wait for a sale. But I was okay with paying that because I knew I was going to have fun with that. And then Silk Song came out and kind of like took over. So whatever. First world problems, I guess. Um, but yeah, so like, yeah, definitely fun factor is a thing. And I'm with Wolf. I usually research. If I get spoiled, as long as it's not like this is the final boss, I'm okay.
Mhm,
It's like this is the game mechanic. This is how you're starting off, like mid, or like beginning, mid, and end. It's like, okay, cool. I know what to expect. I'll give this game a shot. So I do get that mentality.
Yeah, that's
So
completely like I understand completely the other side of the fence. I absolutely get it because the name of the game is finances. You know, if I mean, even if we had an abundance of it, also to Wolf's point, he's like, I don't want to waste my time. So I definitely get the reason behind doing the research. But I wanted to touch on your other point, Gunnar, because I didn't even address that in terms of like the dollar allocation to like time or whatnot. I don't think it's a good metric to like to solidify like where your money goes, because for example, Metroid Dread was like, if you know what you're doing, it's like a 4 to 5 hour game, and I think it
If
was
that long.
yeah, if that long, and I think it was
Mhm.
really, it was super fun and engaging, where it was worth the price point, where it was like $60 if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was
that.
60.
You
Yeah.
know, and then you have like you have other games like Liza P, which I'm recently playing and been gushing about it for the past few weeks. You got so much time allocation in it. Like, you know, I'm probably played well over 70 hours, but that's more so of me just trying to collect everything and going through the different NPC paths and so on. That game is, in my opinion, worth 70, but I don't even think it was 70 when it first came out. I think it was like
No,
maybe
it was 60.
60, you know? So, and then you have games like I mentioned earlier, The Division, but another game which was full price, but just really disappointed me was The Order 1886. You know, they gave you the full the trailer that they gave you. It was super misleading. It was action packed, and then when I finally got the game, it was mostly story driven. You just was walking around, having dialogue with everyone. You'll get an occasional firefight here and there, and then towards the end, the final boss was pretty much a reaction command. The entire fight was reaction commands, and it was like, you've got to be kidding me. So it's like I don't think people can or should gauge how much time you're putting into a game, how much time you'll get out of a game based on how much you're going to spend, because there are games that are significantly low in terms of time, but I think they're worth the price point that they're being put out for. And then there are games that will completely waste your time that are significantly longer than what you anticipated in terms of your like your financial metric, and they will completely disappoint you. You'll probably play that game less than you'd play the game that was intended to be 4 to 5 hours long. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that point because I didn't
Oh,
earlier.
Yeah, I don't use that as a metric when I'm deciding yeah, time versus dollar ratio. I don't, because for me, if I like a video game, I'm gonna put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. So the money is gonna be worth. It's gonna be worth it overall in the end. Um. So no, I don't use that metric myself personally. I don't even know how you would how you even mentally fathom that. Like like that is such a spectrum of a measurement, that is such a large spectrum, that like some people can find every dollar of the $70 they spent on a 12-hour game to be worth it, and then others don't. Like it's too gray. It's far too gray for me. Do you like the game? Okay, if you like the game,
Well,
spend the money. If you don't like the game, don't spend the money.
enjoyment is an arbitrary concept, right? Because it varies so
It's
greatly from
absolutely
person to
true,
person. So
right?
it's just I think a poor attempt at trying to just simplify um, enjoyment into a very easily calculated, measurable metric or box, right?
Hmm.
It's like it's a way to put something in a box, and it's just too broad of a concept that again can vary greatly between person and person, right? Like
Hmm.
so it just doesn't. It's arbitrary. It's just like I don't even pay mind to that kind of thinking because it just doesn't make sense. Like you could break it in so many different ways that it's not even worth engaging in.
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, I bring back the Ubisoft point. Content is there, things to do is there, but is it meaningful? Is it enjoyable? Is it fun? I mean, like all of us have said, it's debatable. But me personally, I'm gonna lean on. No, you get a lot of busy work, but
Well, it can be fun to some people, right? Again, it goes back to you ask one person and that's fun to them. You ask somebody else and it's busy work. Personal example is my short stay with Genshin Impact. That on my PlayStation history it's in my top 10 as far as games that I've played a lot, as far as hours are concerned, and really I'm gonna say like 80% of that time was busy work. It was just me doing stuff that took up a lot of time, finding all the chests and unlocking all the little things and doing quests over and over again to try and get like a drop or whatever. That wasn't nearly as fun as my 500 hours in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, where I'm doing similar things as far as repetitive gameplay, but the gameplay loop is really fun and engaging, while the Genshin Impact gameplay loop was not. And so that 500 hours I spent in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate recently with you guys was way more meaningful, way more memorable than the 500 hours I spent playing Genshin Impact for that during the pandemic time. Like the only thing I remember is just doing the same thing over and over again. Like I would go around the map and I would kill every enemy in the entire world to get all of the drops, because each enemy dropped a specific item that you needed for specific characters to level specific stats. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna kill everything and then I'll just have everything. So that if I need a certain amulet, then I have 50 of them, because I've been doing this every day for like the last 2 months or whatever. Whereas in Monster Hunter, the battles meant more. It was more engaging game. Why is that hard for me to say? Engaging gameplay. Fuck. Sorry. Um. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So that's just one example, and I have plenty more, but that's like the main one that comes to mind.
gotcha.
So the whole time thing is nonsense.
Yeah, but I think that's just a symptom of the price of games nowadays. Like, God forbid we enter the realm of $80 at standard MSRP, which these game companies and developers, they're really trying, and Mario
Well,
Mario Kart World.
it's also partially human nature too, right? Think about like how we play games sometimes. Sometimes we'll play like, okay, Resident Evil for example. In older Resident Evil games, in order to like scan a room, instead of going to each place and like meticulously looking for items and like figuring, you would just kind of run around the room and just press X a bunch of times until you hit something, right? And
Mhm.
same thing with like an RPG, right? Like sometimes you're just kind of grinding and you're not even paying attention. You're just in Pokemon, you would just put like flamethrower at the top of your attack listing, so you don't have to look at what you're doing because you're going to kill everything in that particular area if you're like effort training or something like that, and you're just going to kill 25 things with flamethrower. That's not engaging gameplay. Like that's not immersive. That's just busy work. So development is kind of falling into the same trap where it's like, okay, we want to make a fun game, but it has to be long because some people on the internet say a long game is a better game. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're just kind of cookie cutter develop a game, and we're gonna kind of just like half-ass it. We're just gonna kind of press X a bunch of times until we hit something. We're just gonna kind of give you the same quest over and over again and dress it differently, and then just it's a 40-hour game, and it's like it's not a meaningful 40 hours though. So
So I have
that's where we're at though.
I have a question in regards to that. Could it also be that due to the fact that it's due to the fact that the price point is higher for games, is that why the majority of gamers would correlate the time going into said game? Because like now that they push the envelope,
part
it's
of it.
saying that it's $70.
People trying to justify it.
Yeah,
That's what I
so
think. Yeah.
It's copium for sure. It's 100% copium.
yeah.
All right. So again, this one has kind of been answered, but since we're nearing the end of our time, I'll ask it, and if there's any new sparks that come up, we can talk about it. So the last prong of the trident was, are you willing to roll the dice on a game that might be mid or good or just okay for 50 as opposed to a 70, or even I'll even bump it up to 80 of the same, like risking the potentiality that it is a mid game at best. I'll just answer very quickly. Yes. Again, a recent example, a semi-recent example, is probably one of my favorite RPGs in 2025. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. I only saw very limited gameplay. Kind of, I think at the Game Awards when we were all watching that for an episode, and it looked cool. But how many times have we looked at a trailer in the Game Awards and it's turned out to be Division or Watch Dogs, where it fucking looks amazing and it turns out to be mid at best. So that's where my expectation was. And when it came out and it said it's $50, I'm like, wow, that's kind of unheard of now. And I took a chance on it. It didn't end up like Lost Soul Aside. It ended up being one of my favorite games this year. And that was me just taking a chance, just seeing the limited gameplay footage that I saw at the Game Awards, knowing it's a turn-based RPG, knowing it has a certain level of button commands, and it's not called Final Fantasy or Tales of. It's a new IP. So because it was a new IP, because it was an RPG, a turn-taking RPG, which is rare, or a lot more rare than it used to be, I rolled the dice, and it was $50. The fact that it was 50 was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Because if it ends up being mid, then it's fine. If it ends up being bad, well, it wasn't a $70 game. So that's my recent example of me rolling a dice on a game that ended up being one of my favorite games. So yes, I am more willing to roll the dice on a $50 game. Another one being Wu Chang. That one is not like Expedition 33. That one I think is an okay Souls game. When you compare it to games like Lies of P, and First Berserker Kazan, those are better games in my opinion. But I was more willing to roll the dice on Wu Chang because that was MSRP 50. And I don't regret my purchase, but I would have regretted it if it was 60, and I really would have regretted it if it was 70. So, me, yeah, if it's like 50 and below, I'll roll the dice on it, and if it ends up being a dud, so be it. As opposed to a 70. 70 is just like, let me do some research.
Hmm. I'm not gambling any of it. Nope. No. I'm gonna do my research. Yep, I am one of those. I will watch a review. I would see people play. I will read a Reddit post. I'm not I'm just not in the mindset of just gambling money anymore. Not with these games coming out. These subpars coming out. Sorry. Just my opinion of it.
It's nothing to apologize for. I mean,
Mm-mm.
hey man, you gotta protect your coin when you work 40+ hours on a weekly basis, and like you only have but so much funds you can spend things on. Like you're gonna want to get something worthwhile. So if you're gonna,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
this hobby of ours is really expensive now. I mean, this isn't the 3DS days where it was a $40 game, and it's just like, all right, this looks pretty neat, and or it's the 3DS days, and we're all playing fucking Steel Diver because that's the only game available, and it's like, all right, this is pretty fun, but it wasn't a $70 game. Or we're trying to really justify Street Fighter 4, like, nah, this looks good. This is really cool. Look, I can see Ryu's back. Like, games are way more expensive now. I get being hypercritical and hyper, anal, for lack of a better word, about what you're spending your money on.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, probably not in these days, especially. Like 50 is a little expensive. There's a lot of things I can do with $50. 20 and 30 is kind of like that's my gambling range. If I wanna, I see a game and I just look at the cover and I'm like, huh, that looks kind of cool, and I look at the back and the screenshots look kind of neat, or maybe I look up a short gameplay trailer and I'm like, damn, that looks pretty fun, and it's $25, $30. 30 is like I gotta really like it, right? Like, the art style's really gotta capture me. $20, I'm willing to take it. Like to me, 20 is like $20 is such a weird amount of money these days. $20 used to be a lot of money, or like you'd be able to get like $20 growing up in the
It's
2000s.
food for a week.
That could last you an entire week. Like you had lunch for 5 days,
Yeah.
right? $20 now, you'd be lucky to get 2 days worth of lunch out of $20.
It kind of feels
So-
like it's almost the modern day dollar.
Yeah,
It is.
$20
Two
feels
items.
like-
Two
feels like
items at
what
the
$5
store.
used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like $5. $20 today is what $5 felt like
Mhm.
10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yep.
So to me, $20 is kind of like, hey, it comes and it goes.
Hmm.
So yeah, $20 I'm willing to throw it. Just like whatever. It looks cool. I don't have anything else coming up as far as expenses are concerned. My bills are paid for the month. I want something new to play. Fuck it. I'll try. In fact, I did it recently. So I bought a game called. It's like a survival game. Like my new adventure or my adventure begins here, or something like that. And I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. And it was like, it was like $17.99. I bought it without even like researching anything about it. In fact, let me quickly look up the game. But anyway, I bought it, and I was like, yeah, this looks pretty neat. And it was like a isometric view game, kind of like Project Zomboid.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's called Beyond the Map. It came out recently,
Okay.
and it's a survival, kind of like Valheim and those kinds of games where you're in a world and you're just kind of like building a base, collecting loot, killing stuff, going through dungeons, things like that. And I was like, yeah, it looks pretty dope. And I love those kinds of games. And I bought it, and it had like no controller support. It was primarily a keyboard and mouse game. And I was like, ugh. And so I tried to like configure the controls to like have my control mimic the keyboard and mouse controls, and it just didn't work. Like there's just not enough buttons to support what the game wants you to do. And so I was like, fuck it. Like I played it for like 8 minutes, and I was like, yeah, this is a dud. And I refunded it right away, and I got my money back and all that. But so yeah, I'm willing to gamble $20 to $30. 50 is no, we're not. I'd have to be interested in the game. Like Wu Chang, for example, like you bought that. I've been looking at that game for like 2 years now. I've been like following that game, and it came out, and unfortunately for the developers of Wu Chang, that came out around the same time that the Gundam card game came out in, and so I had to kind of make a decision as to what hobby I wanted to fund during that month, because it came out during my birthday, and that was a game I was considering getting for myself for my birthday. And two things came up. Number one, Gundam card game came out, and I enjoy that game a lot. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna probably prioritize that. And number two, I wasn't really in the mood to play a Souls game, so it was just like, I'm gonna buy it, and it's just gonna sit there. And I've done it before. I bought Dragon's Dogma 2 launch day. I played it for like an hour. I said I will get back to it. Never got back to it. It's still sitting in my shelf back there. Haven't touched it. I will someday, maybe. Bought Stellar Blade at launch. It was all right. It was fine. That game felt like a $50 game though.
Yeah.
So like now I'm more inclined to just kind of wait, because well, games will go on sale digitally or physically. They'll go on sale eventually, unless it's like in the first party Nintendo game, then good luck. But yeah, the gambling aspect for me, my limit is 30. It's 20 to 30. Obviously, if it's $10, sure, whatever. That's lunch, So yeah, that's where I'm at as far as your question is concerned.
No, yeah, that's it. Because we all have different, different
Different, like,
perspectives.
thresholds and-
yeah,
yeah.
thresholds, and the PC indie scene is kind of like there's a lot of games like that are 17, 10, 15, and you might get some duds like the one you got, but how
Listen.
many?
I just went back to Project Zomboid. I have over 700 hours in that game, and that game is only $10.
Oof.
There you go.
When you have games like that like scratch just the right itches, and I could just play for hours. The gameplay loop is, I could start over, new save files over and over again, and still get immersed. What, like, AAA has to make such a compelling offering. It's like, and they refuse to do it. They refuse to make games passionately. They refuse to make games that appeal to me, to appeal to real gamers, because they want to appeal to a wide market. So they can continue to do that, and I'll continue to just not support it.
Hmm.
And we'll see
That
we'll see
is,
who wins at the end of the day.
yeah. I mean, that is where we are. So before I take us home, anybody have any last words or whatever? Any recent game highlights, fumbles? I've named my fumbles and some highlights. So
Um, well, I would say that you guys already know how I am when it comes to like purchasing games and whatnot. So I think $50, I'm okay with it, but I'd have to like it'd have to be a game that I'm really interested in. As far as like the 30-20 price point, I've realized that I've gotten quite a few good games at that price because that falls into the indie territory, and indie games are, at least as of right now, superior to triple and quadruple A games. So like, I've played Ender Lilies, I've played The Messenger, I've played what's that what's that Souls like game? It's the guy that he runs around and he claws shit. They had a physical copy of it, but I don't remember.
runs around close. Shit.
Yeah, so basically he attacks you, and then he has to use like a special claw move to like take the red HP. I think Kong purchased it too, and it was kind of like a steampunk esque kind of world or whatever. Shit, what is it called? God damn it! I know I streamed it too.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name. I
Yeah,
I I think I remember what you're
The
talking
only
about.
ones that come to mind are like Thymesia.
yeah, Thymesia.
Uh,
That's what I was talking
was
about.
that it?
Thymesia.
Oh,
Yeah,
the guy with
yeah,
the plague mask.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. All right.
So games like
I didn't
that.
buy it yet, but it's on the list. If I see it out there for 20, I'll grab it.
Oh, I thought you got it physical for the Xbox because it was like 10, 15 back in the days or
Not
something
yet,
like that.
not yet. I haven't. I'm not going out of my way to get it, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, and then
I mean, the games that I'm looking forward to the most are indie games, like Moonlighter 2 is coming out next month. Getting that for sure. Crab's Treasure is getting a physical copy.
Yep,
Getting
yep,
that
yep,
for sure.
yep.
Pac-Man World 2 is getting a remake on Switch. Getting
Oh,
that.
nice,
Like,
nice.
so I'm just getting old, basically games of old that are just new. That they're getting my money. Am I buying the new Metal Gear? I was interested in it, but I'm like, I can wait. Like it'll be
I thought
50
that,
in Black
yeah.
Friday.
I thought the same too. It's like, but it's just Metal Gear Solid 3. I
And I
played
have Metal
that.
Gear Solid 3 like in 3 different ways. I have it on Vita, have it on PS3, and have it on PS2. Like I think I'm good actually. Like
Yeah,
I can wait for a sale. So
Yeah,
but I'm buying that Tactics when it comes out because I'm a sucker. It's my favorite game. So
yeah, but you're gonna be invested in it because it's tactical RPGs are amazing. It's
so that's
really
the other thing too, is like I find myself, and I think you guys probably agree, I find myself kind of just going back to familiar things. Like I've been burned so much by the new stuff that I'm like, I'm good just kind of rewatching the same old movie. I already know what's gonna happen. I watch old wrestling because I already know it's like this is a good match. I play old video games because I know this is a great game and I'm gonna enjoy it. I will just go back to what I know isn't gonna fuck me. Um, and that's kind of where I'm living right now. Some people might hear that and go, "Well, you're living in the past." I guess so, but the past was a hell of a lot better. So I'd rather live in the past and let life pass me
I
by,
mean,
and you guys can absorb the slop. But I'm
the
not
future is
interested.
games like Forspoken. So I mean,
I'm good. I think I'm chilling in the past though.
yeah,
And that game is about traveling in the past. Funny enough,
that game's
and the
also
game is ass.
probably $20.
It's funny, the game you were talking about, Soul Aside or whatever. I see
Yeah,
that, and I just saw Forspoken. Like it just fits that archetype of like we look like a high budget game, and then you peel the layer back, and it's this shit expired. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just old.
Yeah,
It isn't good.
it's rough, man. I mean,
And I was semi interested in it because again, like, it looks like a cool character action game. Kind of like how I felt about Stellar Blade. Cool character action game. But I knew, I was just like, I don't trust it. Like, I know this is slop. I know it's slop because that's just AAA gaming now. It's just slop.
Well, question.
Yeah,
Is it really? Is it considered slop, or is it just that it missed the points on certain aesthetics? Because I didn't hear. I don't think I heard anything pertaining to.
I didn't play it that long.
Okay.
Honestly, I played like about an hour of it, and I kind of knew where this train was. I knew that it was going to be at least semi-enjoyable, and I would walk away going, that was all right. But I would also have to look at the characters, and they just don't look good. At least Stellar Blade is nice to look at. These Eve's nice to look at. It's a mid, not a mid. It's an okay.
You little bigot.
Hey, come at me, internet. You know, remember, direct all questions to Mr. Esoteric. He's our PR department. You know, but it just it doesn't it got me, man. It got me. It is not worth the price of admission currently. And you know, if you play it Esoteric, you might have a different opinion, and that's fine. But I just don't think it's worth investing in right now. And apparently, it looks different from when this was shown in like 2017. So this is another one of those games that was shown a long time ago, was in development for a very long time, and this is what we got.
Oh god, so it's like a Last Guardian, because oh god, that game was garbage. Whew, that game was so terrible, man. That was a dumpster
Last
fire.
Guardian, Forspoken.
Some people out there vouch for it. They're like, this game was amazing, and it's just like, all right, man, different strokes. So
True.
That indeed.
The hobby has been infiltrated. The normies have taken over. Now we just have to let them burn it down so that we could come back and we have to rebuild it and support the real developers who actually give a shit about it.
Yeah, definitely. We say this like multiple times in the thing. Like, games like Silk Song. I know that's got a lot of hype. I think it's one of the few indies that deserve it. And again, we talked about gambling. Game's only $20, 21 something after tax. Like, it's cheap, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. So far, my $20, going back to price and correlation, it's justifying its price, and you got to support games like that.
So here's my question: would you have purchased it if it was a $50-$60 game?
Probably not. At least not right away.
Okay.
I would have to do more research on it because so far it's like Hollow Knight, which I enjoy Hollow Knight, but you play as a different character and she plays differently than Hollow Knight. I know there's going to be different mechanics and stuff, and like equipment looks like it's going to be different, but I haven't gotten that far yet. But if it was 60, I would have watched more in-depth reviews on it from different sources that aren't IGN. But because it was 20, I was like, all right, it's 20. Like, the fucking teriyaki place that I eat, what I order is $17. Not that much different from Silk Song. So
True. I mean, if a game is financially attractive, there's nothing wrong with giving it a shot, especially considering that the prequel was good. Like, you have substantial information to gauge it on, even though that's not always the case, because there's been sequels that have been like dumpster fires compared to the original. But you know, with Hollow Knight, I can see that it's not. I can see that it would be a direct correlation. It'll be the same thing, but with some slight variations. At least to me, from what I was gauging.
yeah, I mean, for some people that's not enough. That's not good enough. So they're gonna wait, and maybe there's DLC for that. Pick it up later and get DLC. So it's all thresholds, which is why I wanted to bring this up, because I know we're all gonna have different thresholds. I figured it'd be interesting. So looks like that's about it. Everybody's kind of said their piece and let their opinions out. So we're gonna wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate anybody who sticks around for this long. No matter who you are, how many of you are there, we appreciate you. If you like what you saw/heard this evening, leave a like, comment, let us know. Like, have you made a fumble? Have you bought a game on a whim and it turned out to be a dud? How do you measure games? And what do you see about the industry? Is $70 good for you? Not good for you? Let us know. We'd appreciate all comments. Mr. Esoteric, resident streamer of the group, he streams on Twitch and YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. He'll sprinkle Monday and Fridays. He'll sprinkle streams periodically. He's been really loving Lies of P, so my man's been streaming a lot. So he'll
Whoa,
make
a good AAA title? He's enjoying it?
Yep.
yeah.
No.
You get that here and
Crazy.
there. Lords of the
You meant to
Fallen,
say-
you know.
You meant to say Assassin's Creed Shadow.
Yeah, he played that all of like 3 streams or some low number. He'll get back to it. Trust me. He's there. Trust and believe. But yeah, that's why you got to follow him on Twitch or YouTube, depending whichever one you like, because he streams periodically. He's got his set days, but if you're loving a game, he'll be on it, and we'll always appreciate new faces in the stream. So if you're interested, check it out, chat it up. We're always welcoming of new individuals. Social media, we got that. The usual suspects. If you use it, follow us there. Yeah, that's about does it for the YouTube spiel. So, once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, listening. We appreciate you, and we will see you all in the next video. Take care.